Whew. LeBron posted this on his Instagram, a photo of Kobe's Black Mamba jersey draped over his leg. He captioned it with, "Hope I made you proud, my brother. Love and miss you, champ. Hashtag Black Mamba 2482. Vanessa Bryant posted this on her Instagram story. Flowers from Judy Cito, the Lakers director of sport performance. Also a handwritten letter to her. Mamba mentality helped us get number 17. This win is for Kobe, Gigi, and all of you." No doubt, the Lakers honored Kobe, guys, throughout the playoff run, and they finished the job just like Kobe would have done. AK.
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking about every time Kobe's name would come up during these playoffs because the Lakers were so outwardly looking to win the championship in his name and to honor him. It's still weird that he's gone. I mean, beyond the sadness of it all and thinking about what, should have been there for his family and Gigi and all the other victims, it's just weird that Kobe isn't there. And seeing them be able to honor Kobe in this way so soon after it happened, and to not let that goal overwhelm them, because I could picture the magnitude of that just becoming something that envelops them and something that creates more pressure for them than maybe was healthy for them. But ultimately, they ended up turning that into, I think, a really positive, organic, motivating factor. And it was just great to see.
AK, you and I must have covered 1,000 at least of Kobe Bryant's games with the Lakers. And I think we know his personality really well. And I think he would be proud of this team and the effort that they put forth, especially winning that Game 6. The odds are starting to tilt a little bit closer to Miami. When Miami pulled within 3-2, Lakers still favored. But Miami made it a series, and the Lakers said, okay, that is enough. Mamba mentality time. And sure enough, they took care of business. And that's what Kobe was all about. He didn't like giving teams openings. He didn't like giving teams hope in playoff situations. And I still go back to 10 years ago when he beat Boston. He was so happy to have beaten the Celtics. And there were times when he did not win the championship, plenty of times when they'd have a nice deep playoff run. And you'd see the other side of Kobe, this is not acceptable run. And good for these Lakers for not unearthing that, for not having to think about that for the next several months before the next season begins. Because you know what? They did what they needed to do.
And as expected, the impact, of course, amongst the Laker organization. But guys, this is going to carry on for so long. And it's not just with the Lakers. I think it's one thing that you've just noticed within this league, especially players who went into the bubble, the shoes, the jerseys, the moments to continue to honor someone that inspired so many. It's special. Okay.
Yeah, this was a really unusual playoffs, I think, for the Lakers, in the sense that unless your team was in this, as an NBA fan, I think the Lakers became a sentimental favorite in a way that never happens. I mean, the Lakers are the 800-pound gorilla of the NBA. You hear about a Lakers exceptionalism. There's often resentment towards the Lakers from different fan bases around the league. But when you saw the way Kobe's death affected the entire NBA and fans, no matter who you rooted for, I really got a sense that as long as your team wasn't going to be the one to fall against the Lakers, or if your team got eliminated, your rooting interest really was with the Lakers. Because on top of this with Kobe and understanding why the Lakers would want to win in his honor, this Lakers team was pretty likable to begin with. They were a very easy team to root for. They're among the most likable teams I've ever covered in any sport.
AK, absolutely. I mean, so many good personalities on this team, so many good stories of redemption and comeback stories. Dwight Howard, who played with Kobe in 2012-13, I thought he had a very poignant interview probably halfway through the season, and he said, you know what, I wish I'd been able to get closer to Kobe. I wish we'd done more in my one season with the Lakers. They got swept in the first round, tons of injuries. That was the year that Kobe snapped his Achilles tendon, and just so many different stories of, what could have happened. We Miss Kobe was kind of the genesis of so many different and strong storylines throughout the season. There's
no denying. He was there all season, and then, of course, all the way through the final.
Yeah, he really was.
Well said by the both of you. Changing gears, the bond between LeBron and Anthony Davis, both on and off the court, is undeniable. They enjoy one another's success, and you could tell since the first day Anthony Davis signed that this was going to be a special season. Our backstage cameras have been there the entire way with the Lakers duo, so sit back and relax and take a look back at how it all came together.
In professional sports, you have guys that join forces. I believe jealousy creeps in a lot. That is the absolute contrary of what we are. We're not jealous of each other. We know who we are, we know what we're about, and we want the best, seriously, every single day, both on and off the floor for one another.
I'm not jealous of him, he's not jealous of me. During the course of the game, if I did something wrong, he tells me. If he does something wrong, I tell him. And I think that's what makes it work.
If you were to be jealous or envious of anything that LeBron has or is or does, what would it be?
That he had the ring. I want to win, and he has 3 of them. And so that would be the one thing for sure that I'll be jealous about.
A penchant for some odd alley-oop passes every now and then. I would say lay off the lobs. I mean, Danny Green is just one of the more reliable players in the NBA. There's a reason that the Lakers finished the playoffs and he had the highest net rating among anybody in the rotation.
There you go.
It's not by accident.
No,
and that's what he brings to the table.
Absolutely, okay. And you see the graphic right here. He and LeBron James became the 3rd and 4th player to win an NBA title with 3 different teams. What sticks out to you about this, Brez, when you look at it?
Robert Horry won 7 rings. I had no idea.
I didn't either. I didn't either.
I mean, these are all good players who played on very good teams, and so he's in a very elite crew. And by the way, winning it back-to-back with 2 different teams, that to me is quite the feat for a guy like Danny Green to go all the way from the Eastern Conference in a very different type of Toronto team to kind of blending it well out here in L.A. And Ali and AK, if I do have 2 complaints about the Lakers, one they could not help, about their championship run, I should say. It wasn't in L.A. There was no fan interaction. There's no parade. Yeah. It's just kind of a sad indictment of our society right now. The other complaint would indeed be these death threats that Danny got after his missed 3 in Game 5. It's like, come on. I mean, the very next game, 2 days later, the Lakers won it all.
Yeah.
So everyone needs to calm down a lot more. This is a game. We're supposed to be having fun. I know there's a lot going on around outside of us, but that disappointed me a little bit.
Being a friend of Rob Horry's, I do not fault you for pointing out that he won 7 titles.
Oh, yeah.
But, AK, let's not forget that all 4 of those guys, John Sally, Robert Horry, LeBron James, Danny Green, they all at least won 1 ring with the Lakers.
That's pretty cool.
I mean,
it's kind of cool.
If you want to play the odds historically, trying to get a championship, there are worse ways to go about it than joining the Lakers. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a here, but I mean, do the math. Look at the history. Like, this has nothing to do with, the team that we cover or how we're affiliated or whatever. I'm just saying, look at the actual math. The odds are in your favor. Join the Lakers.
AK, are you politicking to join them next season? Maybe like a 3-point specialist? How's your shot these days?
Worse than anybody ever complained about with Danny Green. It's pretty off.
Okay. I appreciate the honesty.
It's not my strong suit. I would say I'm good for 6 totally ineffective fouls.
Hey, we all need a player like you on our team. I'll take you.
The enforcer.
Any day. Guys, there was some news regarding the NBA, though the season just ended. According to media reports, the Clippers and Ty Lue have reached an agreement for him to become the next head coach of the franchise, reported to be a 5-year deal. Lue was an assistant with the Clippers last season and won a title as head coach of the Cavs in 2016. Are we surprised by this at all?
No, it makes so much sense to me. Look, there he is right there with Doc Rivers. He's familiar with the staff, with the team, with the player personnel. He's coached in the NBA successfully as well, and he spent time in Los Angeles as a player. This is interesting because Ty was at or near the top of the Lakers list last year when they were looking for a new coach, and obviously it did not work out. So it's kind of interesting. Might add a little fuel to the Clipper-Laker fire. That, okay, so you didn't end up with us, but now you're with those guys. Bring it on.
Having spent some time, AK, with him in Cleveland, he's got quite the playbook, and Ty, very deserving of this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how this turns out because obviously Ty Lue has a championship ring on his finger from his time coaching the Cavaliers. He's been very well respected for a long time when he was an assistant on different staffs. He's one of those guys that I think everybody sees as a great head coach in the making, but he has a very small sample size, and that sample size includes LeBron. And when I was talking about before with playing the odds, if you want to win a championship, join the Lakers. Playing the odds to get a championship, join LeBron. Also pretty good. So it's going to be interesting to see how Ty Lue gets this team to respond, get them past their collapse in the bubble and really underachieving. But it is a opportunity. I'm happy to see it.
And quite the opportunity. He'll have 5 years. Ty Lue, the next Clippers.
Good longevity right there.
Still to